Arrow.
What's going on, man?
Arrow Collins.
Hey, how you doing today?
Arrow Collins, you there, sir?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Absolutely. I'm always shocked by the miles between us, and technology has allowed it to make it sound like you're next door.
It's incredible. It's incredible. I'm right down the street from the front here, and out on a pleasant walk. So it's even more remarkable than you might think.
Wow. I'll tell you, one of the things that I've become addicted to watching are the videos that you're shooting. That in itself, you're giving us the reality of the moment, but at the same time, the people that you surround yourself with, you can see the camaraderie and the collaboration.
It doesn't surprise me that you can see that. It certainly is felt. It's extremely strong, and I'm glad that you find them insightful. That's part of. I feel like that's part of our job here. There's very few foreigners here. There's it's really underserved. It's the only city, the artillery range, and the only city that was occupied. And so we there's very few journalists come. Very few people know about the place. And part of serving the people really is just to educate so that good people can see, be inspired to help and help. Yeah.
If the journalists aren't coming, doesn't that make you the journalist?
I wonder about this, Arrow. These are the kind of questions I want to ask you. I'm just a guy from Kentucky. I'm just a small town lawyer. But I've tried. That to me really has been the big thing. I mean, how do people? There's not going to be help unless people know that help is needed. So I've tried to do that in my own amateur way. I'm glad it hasn't been too awkward and insightful, perhaps at times for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow. So has the relief come? I mean, they voted it. Let's send more money to Ukraine. Are you seeing anything?
I'm definitely seeing some changes. It doesn't really affect the humanitarian situation. The incidents of there's a lot more. The Ukrainians are shelling back way more than they were. So we're right here on, we're in Kherson, Ukraine. Very, very different from all the other places. The front is right down the street. The war's right down the street, about a kilometer from our little camp here. The Dnieper River is the front line here. The Russians are on the other side. They're on the left bank. Kherson city, pre-war population of about 300,000 is here. So the shelling has been overwhelmingly predominant from the Russian side. Now you're seeing it go back that way. In terms of the humanitarian situation, most of that aid is military aid. So, but we have seen an uptick in the return fire. So
wow.
It's made it different that way.
One of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is, first of all, here in Charlotte, we had somebody take out 4 police officers this week. And so therefore the war is on our street. How do you wake up or walk around a war when it's every day in your life?
It's a great question. It's a great question. I'm sorry to hear about that. I read about that. Saw a lot of your posts and comments on it. It's heartbreaking anytime just violence in general, and I don't really know. So I wake up most days, and at some point in the day, I wonder how the hell I got here. I know the answer to that. And it's, the way you travel a long distance, it's just a little bit at a time, right? So if my first day of service would have been here in Kherson, Ukraine, it would have been absolutely my last. It was a long journey that took us, that got us here. I mean, I bought a ticket for 1 week to go to the border when the war broke out. I studied Russian in college. I lived in Moscow 30 years ago, university, and before law school. And I lived in St. Petersburg. So I thought, maybe I could probably help more than the average person. It's been a while, but I speak Russian. It's rusty. Went to the border. And from that point, it was just I was just kind of shot out of a humanitarian cannon, with the big organizations not really handling this. The reasons for that are, too long to explain. If you had a certain skill set, you were just catapulted into it, and it just propelled you forward. So at first it was that, then it was back there for, another month. Then it was, one way led on to way. Met a refugee there, had a unique background. Ultimately, went and got her in Kyiv. She came and lived with the kids and I back in Kentucky. She went back. We worked on some projects. the people I met at the border that had kind of a, a frontline humanitarianism kind of background, former soldiers, former medics, that kind of thing. Those folks went into Ukraine for kind of phase 2 of the humanitarian effort. Phase 1 is anybody that can get out of Ukraine, getting out. Once the refugee part was done, it was about going in. I was not a big, I'm a lawyer for Christ's sake. So, but I had a very visible sort of kind of prominent role at the border somehow. And these guys were my friends, and I was, trying to help them from afar, but really they were overwhelmed, needed help. They were in Kharkiv in the Far East. And ultimately, I sort of said, okay, let's do this. My buddy John, who happened to be my paralegal, who had been itching to had seen me do it, really supported the effort, wanted to get involved. So we went over, the two of us in a rental car, not knowing anything. And the whole premise was, we don't know anything. But we can follow instructions, and we're two guys, one free Russian speaker, which is very rare, a rental car, and we do everything for free. What can we do? How can we help? We arrived in Kharkiv just in time for the counteroffensive to begin. Yeah. So all of a sudden, people are asking us to do stuff, and we're accidentally learning it. One thing leads to another, and then we're in Bakhmut doing, we accidentally acquired a skill set, accidentally acquired unique equipment, and then all of a sudden, after this place was liberated, it was the last place liberated, the only big city. We were asked to come down here. We spent really all of our time in the previously occupied territories. This is the biggest previously occupied territory. And from the moment I saw this place, I just, it was difficult processing it. And we relocated here, and we've been here ever since. And even when we started here, we were assisting the other organizations, the local organizations that kind of sprung up after the occupation. So again, we were just, what can we do? How can we help? Two guys willing to show up on time, work hard, increasingly with important experience and language ability that's essential here. After 6 or 7 months, it was best for us to set up our own deal, and only then did we get the office where we got it, got the full-time staff, got all the equipment, and that's what we've been doing since. But so kind of sorry for the long story, but I have to remind myself that's how we got where all I did was, I didn't set out to do anything. I just set out, and this is where we are. Wow.
Because I knew I was going to be talking with you today, I'm sure it flooded my daily writing. But on iHeart today, I'm going to ask the question, and that is, how can anyone heal if all you see is a pile of concrete?
It's true. It's very true. I mean, I love your stuff. I love reading your stuff. I love the whole deal, Era. It's profound as hell. So give me a second here to, digest another nugget of life wisdom, but that is absolutely the case. And, the process of healing, we heal ourselves when we help. And, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. That's you said it better than I ever could.
Wow. Okay. Now you touched on something there when you said when we help. How can we get more people to help you?
Well, I think just by doing what we do every day, which is highlighting, people, the human suffering that exists, and trying to connect that with the good people of the world. Era, the truth is, first of all, anybody wants to help us, we'd love to help. It's worldaidrunners.org. And my Facebook page has everything. As worldaidrunners.org. We'd love to get folks support. The truth is, we're generally self-financed. The support goes to help, humanitarian aid, basic food, basic medicine, basic hygiene for the folks here. So worldaidrunners.org. We'd love to have that support. But other than that, we also appreciate just the prayers and the support and people like you highlighting what we're doing. I think a lot of people help, Era. In the end, my take on it, people can only give what they have, and the war's going on for a couple of years, and a lot of folks have given what they've given. It's really about kind of redirecting some of the big aid that goes elsewhere here. But anyway, I appreciate everything you do, all your listeners do.
Let me ask you a question. You were definitely a part of my conversation with my wife last night, and we were talking about Joe.
Oh boy.
we were talking about Joe Lindsley, because he's been over there now for over 4 years, and then getting the opportunity to meet you. And my wife goes, anybody who is in Ukraine right now has got to be there because God has called them to do the work, or the universe is using them as a tool. Is that true?
That's how I feel. I mean, that's how I feel. And sometimes, sometimes I maybe feel, I have moments where I feel a little silly for feeling that, but it is in the end absolutely 100% how I feel. Joe Lindsley, absolute great guy, and what he's doing is a vocation too. It's the truth that he's speaking and seeing and having the courage to view firsthand. It's absolutely how I feel. And it's easy for me to feel that way because I didn't set out to do anything. Normally in my life, I'm one of these guys that, I've always been taught, dream big dreams, see it very clearly, and just set out and be single-minded purpose and get there. And it's been the exact opposite of that. The circumstances conspired to create it. I went to the border for a week, and when you see that you can help in a serious way, you check boxes that other people don't, not because you're better than them, but because you're different than them. And thank God made us all different. My unique background, previously, talent, skills, experience, all that, much in the same way, I think this applies to Joe as well. When you see how profoundly you can make a difference, how unique that is, and you see human suffering of that scope, there has never been, I have never asked myself one time, how can I do this? It's always been, how in the world can I not? And I think the same calculus is probably applies to Joe. Great guy. Yeah. Your wife is very wise. Arrow.
That's the school teacher in her. She's always asking questions.
That probably gets you in trouble.
So now, when you come back to the United States, you're going to see a different nation, and you probably knew and you know what's going on here. I don't want to go to work. I don't feel like it. I'm so bored. I don't have anything to do. How are you going to handle that mentality when you are doing what you're doing? Because you're going to have to change, or you're going to have to inspire.
It is really hard, and I don't know that I do it all that well. I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I want to do it. So our model has been that we go back and forth, and that's, I've got kids back home, and it's sacrificial for me and them, and they're very supportive. But we'll go back to the States in a couple of weeks, and especially for the summer months. But it's also important for us to kind of heal and rejuvenate. It's super intense, and we're better for the people here over the long haul if we do that. But it's difficult when I go back home. Obviously, you have an experience like this. It changes you, and there are times, Arrow, when I just you have a different perspective, I guess, is how I think of it, and we don't really have. I thought I had problems back in the day, and I kind of laugh at that now, the problems that I thought I had. I'm just grateful for everything that I took for granted before, just the quiet, just the peace, just the opportunity to say hello to folks, to see folks every day, to be around my friends and neighbors, the opportunity to work, that kind of thing. I'm working through that. I don't have an answer to that. If you figure it out, please let me know. Because a lot of things back home seem silly. A lot of, from where I sit, and I talk about this with Christina, who's our young Ukrainian superhero. She's lived through the entire thing, 9 months of being occupied, 16 months of getting shelled. And, here in Kherson, these are the most grateful, kind, welcoming, compassionate, positive human beings I've ever met in my whole life. And they are in the place where you would least expect that. And when I'm back home, I kind of feel the opposite. Mm-hmm. We have such abundance, but the problems that we kind of create problems that don't exist. So when you figure that out, Arrow, please give me a call and give me the download, because it's hard. It is hard to be home. There's an adjustment.
We've got to talk about those videos that you're doing, and I know they're up on Facebook, and I do want listeners to go watch them and to really look into what you're doing. But when it comes to long term, and I think this is probably because I've been watching the Bon Jovi documentary, this is stuff for a future documentary. Are you preserving it and saving it here in the States so that when you do come home and you do this documentary, you're not just going to be downloading it from Facebook?
I am, and I have been inspired by your suggestion. I think it was one of the first times we talked, and I really enjoy our talks. And in any way, you asked that, and I hadn't been as disciplined about that as I am now. And so I do think it is. So I am, and I think it is truth worth telling. And when we're done helping the people that need to be helped, it'll be there for whatever purpose. So thank you for that, Arrow.
Yeah, yeah. When you say you're done, will it be done?
There will come a time. There will the work probably not. I think about that all the time. Truth is, Arrow, when I'm here, I mean, this is such a profound internal transformation. You can get lost in what happened real quick, but the truth is it's such an intense life here. And these people are in such a difficult situation. I remind myself there'll be time for that later on. I can do that on the plane when I'm home. But I know in some fundamental way that I'll never be the same. And it's hard to imagine going back to my lawyering days. And it will end here at some point. It will end for these blessed people. Life will return, but the work probably won't. And I know deep down I feel called to do it. So I'm probably in the process of getting my head around that. But I don't know. I don't know. It's never going to end for you, right? I mean, this is what you do. This is what you love doing, and you're great at it. And you should be doing it, and you do it, and that's great. And you contribute that way. So I guess it's just what we're meant to do, right? I don't know. I
keep telling people that I have to do it, and they go, why? And I say, because I don't have the guts or the courage to tell that 14-year-old that's still alive in me that, hey, we're done. Thank you for showing up, but we're done. I don't want to face that kid.
Yeah, I don't know. But it is, they say, when you do what you love,
yep.
It's just you can really contribute. You can really contribute. So that's a good feeling. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
I absolutely do. So what is that website again so that we can get you some help?
It is worldaidrunners.org, worldaidrunners.org. And there's a link on there. We'd love all the support. 100% of it goes to purchase basic food, basic medicine, basic supplies for the people here. So thank you for the opportunity to plug that.
Absolutely. Now, you said you're coming home in a couple of weeks. So can we set up a conversation for that?
Absolutely.
I would love to hear your Americanized voice on American soil.
It's absolutely. I enjoy the conversation. I appreciate what you do, and you contribute a lot of light and love to the world. And it's been a delight to learn that too. So I hope the conversation keeps going. You contribute, and if I can help you contribute, I want to do that, my friend.
Excellent. Will you be brilliant today? Okay, sir?
You already have been. I love you, man. Thank you.